Hi, I'm Sam, and this is Slow Snail Stitching. Welcome to episode 1 of my Flosstube channel. It's really great to be here. I feel like I have been watching, participating. By participating, I really just mean watching and commenting on Flosstube videos now since around 2021. After all these years, I really just felt like it was time to stop consuming and, being in parasocial relationships and maybe just starting my own channel and start creating and hopefully making more friendships instead of, like I said, just these parasocial relationships. So I hope that you find something here that you enjoy or maybe that you relate to. Either way, welcome. Thanks for clicking. I figured today we're just going to do a pretty simple setup. I think like everybody's first Flosstube. Let's do a quick intro. We can talk a little bit about who I am, some of my other interests outside of cross stitching, and love to show you some of my WIPs today, a little bit of haul, some plans, and maybe even talk about a couple other hobbies. So grab a drink. I've got my trusty dirty Dr. Pepper right here, and let's get started. Okay, so like I said at the top, I'm Sam. I am 36 years old and I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. I have been stitching on and off for a really long time. My mom taught me when I was really young, and it's not something I kept up with whenever I was small. Honestly, I think she probably gave me some, floss and some fabric and was like, get out of my hair for a little bit. So she did teach me whenever I was younger. I picked it up on and off throughout, my, early years, and then put it down for quite some time until my 20s. In my 20s, I was mostly looking for fan art. So at the time I was into some fandoms that just did not have a lot of merch, and cross stitching popped up. I was on Etsy one day and found, I think it was a Game of Thrones cross stitching pattern. So I had purchased that, was like, wait, my mom taught me this, many moons ago. And so I picked up cross stitching. I do have pictures of some of those first projects from back in like 2012. Maybe I can post them here if I can figure out how to. It was bad. Just completely, like, I didn't understand how to, split floss, or that I was only supposed to use like 2 strands. So it was chunky, it was thick, but I loved it. Fiber arts at the time was just something I was super interested in. So I started with some fandom stitching, like I said, patterns from Etsy. Then I kind of moved into self-drafting some pixel patterns of my own, from just, again, patterns that weren't even on Etsy at the time. So just fandoms that I was interested in. I think all of these got lost over the years. I wish I still had them. I would have loved to, been able to like have some mementos from that time. But I have since moved overseas twice. And so during each move that I made overseas, I gave most of my stuff away, or I donated a lot of things. I don't have any of my early works per se. I do have photos of it. So, that's about as good as it gets. I really started picking up cross stitching though as a hobby once I moved back from Berlin, Germany. I was over there for a few years for work. And whenever I moved home and I knew that I wasn't going to be moving overseas anytime soon, I finally started, surrounding myself with all of my hobbies, whether that is books, as you can see, or fiber arts. And yeah, I went back to Etsy at the time, found some patterns and started stitching. I think around that time though is when I realized, like, hey, I can do better at this. And so I started looking on YouTube for tutorials, and that is when I stumbled on Flosstube. So 2021, I found the Hygge Stitcher, Samantha the Hygge Stitcher. I found Modern Folk Embroidery, and like a short list of other channels, and realized that there is a whole niche community here of people that were into the same crafts as me, and I have been absolutely hooked ever since. So yeah, I love cross stitching. My other hobbies at this point, you can tell I like to read a lot. I do like to sew. I would say that I am still a amateur, sewist, which is funny. I you know, whenever I mentioned earlier, I moved overseas, that was with a fabric printing company. I worked for a company called Spoonflower for many, many, many years. And during that time, I was surrounded by a lot of beautiful surface patterns and textiles. And that's when I learned to sew and learned to love to sew. Again, wouldn't call myself an expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I can whip up a project bag lickety split if I need to. So I do enjoy doing stuff like that. A little bit of, started getting into quilting a lot. Yeah, I like video games, so you will probably hear me talk about, you know, my Nintendo Switch quite a bit. You know, that is another love of mine that comes up frequently. So yeah. All right. That is a little bit about me. If you ever have questions, feel free to ask. I'm always happy to chat and happy to answer. I'm a pretty open book. I think now we can get into WIPs. Let's go. Okay, so the way I'd like to go through my WIPs, I don't have a lot. I have around 10 WIPs, I think. But I am definitely a seasonal stitcher. So things to know about me. I am a seasonal stitcher. Fall is my favorite season, fall and winter. I am really thriving. Spring and summer, we're surviving. We're not thriving. It's getting hot, it's getting humid, the bugs are out, like I'm sweating. I don't like it. So this is my time right now, the season, the pumpkin spice season, if you will, to really like get into my craft and just kind of like double down on that seasonal stitching. So what I'm going to show up front though is some stuff that I still love and that I've been stitching on probably in the spring and summer, but have probably been put away for one reason or another. Maybe I'm not feeling it. Maybe there's some issues you'll see with the project. But yeah, if something is in a project bag that I've made or that is special to me in some type of way, I will show the project bag. Otherwise, I just mostly keep my stuff in the little Amazon zippies. My dream though is to not have to use those and just have a whole curated collection of project bags. We're getting there. So let's get started. This first project I want to show you is what I wanted to be my full moon start. I kept seeing other cross stitchers talk about like they have a full moon project. I think it's Stephanie from Cross Stitch the Globe. I actually think this might have been hers at one point in time or somebody's, I don't know, but it was a project that people were stitching on the full moon and I was like, I want to do that too. I think it's a gorgeous project. I just never remember when the full moon is and I always miss it and then I get frustrated that I've missed it. So I need to figure out another way to kind of work this project back into my stitching. But I have made a very small start on Dark Golden Delicious by the Artsy Housewife. This is a 20 count Aida and it is a Fiber on a Whim Heather, I believe. So it's this really pretty darker purple gray. I really love the modeling on this. I do think with that dark color conversion, it is just gonna be so pretty. I am using a color and cotton conversion for this. They are gorgeous. Color and cotton is one of my favorite overdyed flosses. So I'm excited to work on this. I really like this project. I should pull it out more. It isn't a project bag that I made. I don't love this project bag, but I'll show it to you anyways. I am not a fan of the two fabrics I picked to go together. In my mind, I thought they were gonna look a little different than this, but it is what it is. That's what this project bag looks like. I love this mushroom fabric. I really enjoy a bit of nature whimsy, cottagecore, Maury girl aesthetic. Just, you know, that is something you will see in my stitching quite a bit, is I am very much a cozy, autumny, mountainy aesthetic type person. I feel like right now cozy is getting a weird reputation though. Does anybody else feel like they've seen that online? I know in the cozy gaming community, it's like a big controversy right now that like there's problems with cozy games. But I enjoy being at home. So I do like that like cozy vibe of like, I'm at home doing my cozy little hobbies and like my patterns are cozy. So, okay, moving on, friends. Let me look at some notes here. The next thing I have, These are all out of order. That's okay. Okay, this project is one that's in timeout. I love it. I need you to hear me say this. I love everything about this project. I love the pattern. I love the colors of the floss. It's just like everything about it. I'm really struggling with the floss itself. So this is Black House by Long Dog Samplers. And this is on a 16, 18 count Aida. I think it's an 18 count ivory Aida. This is a fairly full coverage stitch, so you won't really see the actual Aida whenever it's done. But I have got a pretty good start on it. I don't know if you can tell, I'm usually a bottom left start. So I really enjoy starting my project with the bottom left. I don't know why. But the problem with this, maybe it's a problem with me, is look at these flosses. First off, I want everybody to hear me say this. These are gorgeous. Look at these silks. The colors are so saturated. The conversion is gorgeous. If you like these colors, these silks are stitching up pretty. They are like just really lofty, like kind of puffy looking on the fabric. It's gorgeous. However, side note, these are the Mrs. Sada's silks. She has an Etsy shop. I actually don't think she's shipping right now to the US. I'm pretty sure I saw a notice on Instagram about that. But if you have not tried them before and you get a chance to try them later on, I will give you this warning. If you have tactile issues, you might struggle with these. And I know that is not everybody, but there is something about this that, like, I don't know if you can hear it, probably not. It's like a very like low sound. There is some friction with this silk that I have not experienced in other fabrics before. Whenever I go to tie knots, so I am a knot start person, unless I'm using DMC and then I'll loop start. But whenever I go to like pull the knot, like, like pull it down, there is some sort of friction there that makes my skin crawl. It feels like the equivalent of nails on a chalkboard. I don't like it. Like, I am really struggling. Like, every time I need to start a new like piece of floss and I have to knot it, I'm like, even pulling it through, you know, the holes of the Aida, there is some friction. I don't know, it's very hard to explain. They are gorgeous. Her color conversion is gorgeous. It's stitching up so pretty, but I'm struggling with this because the actual feeling of it when you're stitching is really unpleasant for me. Extremely unpleasant for me, actually. And I usually don't have that strong of a like reaction to something that I just don't enjoy tactily, but like, ugh, I don't know. It's not my cup of tea. So it's been in timeout for a little bit. I have it in this quilted project bag, which I'm really proud of. I love the fabrics I put together for this. I love the, you know, just having it quilted in this checkerboard pattern. I really, really like this project bag. So another project. This is my, what I call like travel project, flight project. I've not worked on this a lot. I haven't traveled a lot the latter part of this year. It's just this little bag that says rather be reading. It is a pattern by Wanderling Stitches. This is tomato and hare. Right now I only have the tomato, no hare. But look at those cute little tomatoes. Oh, I love them. This is just on like a natural linen, I believe, probably like a Charles Craft, 28 count, I think. Looks it. Nothing super fancy there, just really easy. It's a small stitch. It's in this Morgan hoop. I just keep with it. Another thing, I don't know if this is of interest, I actually don't like Morgan hoops and I don't like Nerd hoops. I am a wooden hoop stitcher. I don't like when my fabric is too tight. I feel like that is a opposite of what a lot of people do enjoy in the community. There's something about it, like having a little bit more give to the fabric whenever I'm pulling through, that I enjoy. I do think if you like your fabric to just be like notched down, like super tight as a drum, Morgan hoops are great. For me, it's not my favorite way to stitch. Okay, this is a summertime project for me. This is Sekhmet by QuaternionCreations, and it is on a 20 count Aida. It's vintage country mocha on the for the called for DMC. I think I mentioned a little bit ago, you know, I really like whimsy stitching. Other kind of like themes you'll see in the things that I like to stitch are anything with folklore, folk tales, you know, mythology is, I love a little bit of mythology. You know, like when you're young, I feel like everybody gets like sorted into like a group of person that they're like, they hyper fixate for a while on like Greek mythology, ancient Egypt, horses. Like there's a few like rather specific ones. I like went down the path of like being very, very into Egyptian mythology and like ancient Egypt. That was like a huge thing for me. Like I would check out books in the summer, you know, about it, or my parents would buy me like a book, and I just remember in the summer like flipping through it. So for some reason in my mind, like if I am like on a trip in the summertime, like I will go down like the path of like, I'm gonna read some historical fiction about ancient Egypt or some like Greek mythology. Like I just get really into it in the summer. So for me, that is what that pattern is like connected to. I took it with me on a beach trip this year, and I don't know, I might not pull it out until I take another beach trip next year, but it's very much one of those that I'm gonna have to be in the mood for it, and I think I'm gonna have to have those like summertime vibes in order to pick it up. It's been a really fun stitch though. It is like a lot of color like completion, so you just kind of like work one color all the way down. So those are the projects right now that I would say are not in timeout, but I am not grabbing or reaching for those projects as much as the ones I'm about to show you. The ones I'm about to show you are ones that I am just actively working on, actively really interested in like grabbing and stitching on. This project that I'm about to show you is arguably maybe my favorite project I'm working on right now. And that is Starry Night by Carriage House Samplings. So get you a little close up on that. When I first saw this, I was very drawn to this greenish colored house. Okay. I've not tried house stitching before. I know that like some people are like very much like house stitchers and I hadn't done it. I didn't really understand like the draw. So I was like, let me give it a try. I am still in that phase where like I'm still discovering like the types of projects I really am wanting to work on or would want to work on again. So this was my foray into house stitching. Whenever I grabbed it, I started kitting it up. I did realize that the green in that photo, it was not green, it was brown. And I didn't want to stitch a brown house. I wanted to stitch a green house. And so I did a color conversion and I made it even more green than the picture. Sorry, I don't have a board yet to like put my stuff on. So I picked out this like slimy green color and stitched the house up in that. Now, a few things. I'm obsessed with it. It's like the Shrek green, slimy, mossy color of my dreams. I will say that maybe I should have gone a color darker on the green because it's, you know, some of the white is getting lost, I think, in the checkerboard of the house, but that's okay. I'm very happy with this project. I get a lot of enjoyment of like, you know, I got the whole house complete and it was just a joy to see it kind of coming together. I think about this project a lot when I'm working on other projects, and I think that is a pretty good sign. This is one that I really want to get finished soon. I will say this about myself. I love the process of cross stitching. I know a lot of times people are like process stitchers where like that is like their main draw to cross stitching. I do love that. I love the process. I have a brain that goes like millions of different places all at once, and so when I'm cross stitching I really can kind of like zone in on what I'm doing, and it is a calming process. However, I'm not going to do anything unless I like the outcome. That is just full facts right there. The things that I am stitching, I want a finished product for. I want to look at it all the time. I am stitching it because I enjoy it aesthetically and I want to put it on my wall. I want to make it to like a pillow. I want to do something with it. I want to put my eyeballs on it like every day. I want to surround myself by pretty handmade art and I am excited for that piece. Like I have a place, it's actually like right up here, that I want to put it. So I think about that project a lot. That is one I would like to try to get done by the end of the year. I do think it's doable. It's only maybe a couple, maybe 2,000 stitches left on it. It's a lot of fill-in though. It's like the whole bottom part of this project is just pure fill-in right here. This like blue and this fun little pattern down here. But look at that little white dog. I love it. I really like it. So that's a strong contender for my current favorite project. Next up is a project that I've had kitted up forever and that I really love working on for a couple different reasons. This is October Mood by Forest Embroidery. And this is what it looks like right now. Now, I will say that this is a fun project for a few reasons. I did end up buying the Forest floss pack for this. Their floss is gorgeous. The variegation on it is just beautiful. Like when you're stitching it up and you're starting to see the different colors coming out, I just like brings me joy. All the little tiny motifs in this are just so adorable. Look at that bat. And I really like the frog. I like them all. I would literally show you. I'm like, look at this. I love it. This is on a piece of 20 count vanilla latte by Bestitch Me. That is my favorite neutral. It is a warm custardy color. It's like it's a white, but it's got like these like beautiful like mottled pieces of like this like yellowy, custardy, creamy looking color. I'm obsessed. I love this project. Again, this is a project that is themed around Baba Yaga, which is I believe it's Russian folklore. I love hearing stories about Baba Yaga. I like stitching Baba Yaga, like her little chicken house. Like, I think it's so cute. So this has been really fun to stitch on for me. And that is what I am currently stitching on for Season of the Witch Style, hosted by my good friend Nicole. Her channel is Thistle and Thread, and if you have not watched Nicole, she is like a ray of sunshine. Like, I love watching her channel. I really enjoy chatting with her. She is the one person that I would say has encouraged me the most to start my Flosstube account, and so shout out to her. She's my fellow whimsy stitcher, and she is hosting the SAL, I think the full month of September. So it's hashtag Season of the Witch Style. I'll try to put it down here, right here. And I'll link her account below. Okay, this project is a special one. They're all special. I love them all. You're gonna hear me say this. Oh, I love this project. I better, right? Like, if I don't like something, I'm not gonna be stitching on it. I talked about this on Instagram recently, but if you don't follow me there, I'll talk about it here. I think I mentioned at the top, the first Flosstube channel I started following was the Hygge Stitcher, and Samantha, she is in my mind, queen of fancy ladies. And maybe it's because like I just found her channel first, but like she is just a delight to watch. And whenever I started watching her channel, I was like, her stitching is amazing. It is objectively gorgeous, but I was like, I'm not really into the fancy ladies. Like, she stitches a lot of Nora and Mirabilias, and I was like, I don't think that's for me. Fast forward, and finally something happened. I was watching the movie Fantasia. It's like a older like Disney movie. If you have not seen it, you should go watch it. And there is a part in Fantasia where these little fairies are dancing and like touching different toadstools and like flowers, and they're glitter. Chef's kiss on the aesthetics of that. And I was like, wait a second, that reminds me of like the Mirabilia fairies. And I was like, wait, I get it. I get fancy lady stitching now. I want to stitch a fancy lady. So all that to say, I went out and I purchased a fancy lady chart. This is Glittering Leaves by Nora Corbett, and this is my start on it. There we go. Oh my gosh, I love this project. I have hyper focused on it the past couple of weeks. I mean, look at her wings, look at her hair. Oh, it's so pretty. When I got it, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna kit it up as called for, as is. And the more I started looking at the two silks, there are two main silks that are used in her leaves, and they're two Karen water lily silks. Whenever I was looking at those colors, I felt like they were a little too bright and a little too like crayon yellow, Barbie pink, you know, just very Crayola, right? Like very like these are like the three colors. And when I looked at the picture, it's a very pretty picture. Like the model stitch is very pretty. But I knew, hey, it's kind of autumn. In my mind, it's autumn. It's autumn. I want to stitch autumn. I want to stitch autumnal leaves. I want to stitch in those like deep, beautiful, like rich colors. And so that's when I made the decision that I was going to do a conversion, a color conversion, and make it hard for myself. So recently I made a big purchase on the Evertote website and got a lot of different Roxy floss. And my leaf conversion is me fussy cutting mostly these Roxy floss right here. Look at these colors. Ugh, this is everything I love. Like I just look at like this twist right here and I'm like, oh, these are the colors I want to wear. These colors I want to see in my house. The other colors I'm using to kind of get some of that effect is just a kind of like a greeny, murky green, pea green DMC color. And I am using a Owl Forest variegated yellow. But what I have been doing is cutting pieces of that Roxy floss. I will say it's not like, Roxy is not, doesn't have huge variegation. It is variegated. There is some like color changes, you know, through the floss, but it's very subtle. And so really what I've been doing is kind of using blends and cutting and fussy cutting like the different pieces that I really wanted. And so you can kind of see here that this is kind of the effect I'm getting. This has really just been a fun stitch. Even if it is fussy cutting, it has been fun. I've just enjoyed trying to make sure that I'm getting the blends that I want and getting like the gradients that I want within these leaves. I've had a really it's just been a fun time. It is funny though, everything people say about stitching Nora's is so true. Like the Hare, this is called for in the Hare, it's just DMC. You put in these like super dark colors and you're like, ugh, I don't like that. I put the black in, I was like, no, I don't like this at all. Like this is like so harsh. And I was like, you know what? The Hygge Stitcher said, trust the process. And I said, okay, I'm gonna trust Samantha. I'm gonna trust the process. And then I put the browns in and then you get like this gradient in her hair. I love it. I love it so much. It's been so exciting. So there she is. Last time I will pull it up. This is a Picture This Plus 32 count in Oracle. It is like a really gray blue color. So like those lighter colors are this like steel blue color with the gray modeling in it. I really think it's making the colors pop. So I have here, ooh, this one's fun. This one's especially fun because it is another stitch along. It's a mystery stitch along. So it is the Twigs and Tea Sow by Fine Frog Stitching. And this is what I have gotten done on it so far. So I have gotten all of the frames, the little chairs. The fabric is a 16 count by Witch's Garden Crafts called Tea Time, I believe. It's what came in the kit that I purchased. I like how you can see my little eyeballs above this. Anyways, you might be able to see some of my foliage and my flowers don't look complete. There are gaps there. And that is because I will be beading this as well. I just thought like, I love the frames. I love the idea of like all these like little frames and just maybe having some of these pieces be more three-dimensional would be fun. So I did decide to do some beading on this. The first piece of this stitch along just dropped yesterday and it is, put it up here somewhere. It's a goose. She's so cute. I really want to put beads on her little button down shirt and maybe at like the center of her bow. I love it. Again, the whimsy, the woodland creatures. It's chef's kiss for me. I'm very into this right now. And I have this in a project bag that I am also very proud of and that I really love. I get a lot of fabric from Quilt Sandwich on Etsy. Shout out Quilt Sandwich. I love them. I love their fabric selection. They have some of just the cutest prints out there. And they curate these fat quarter bundles. If you like to sew project bags and you find it hard to put different fabric designs together, I cannot recommend enough going to Quilt Sandwich, look at their curated fat quarter bundles, and that can really help somebody who's kind of like learning how to put fabric design together. So anyways, I really just love this project bag. I love the little autumnal different thing. Oh, this candy corn. Do y'all like candy corn? I feel like it says something about somebody if they like candy corn or like the pumpkins, you know? I like both. I don't know what it says about me, but I do enjoy both of those things. I really like the zipper color on this. Okay. Anyways, that is what my Twigs and Tea Sow it lives in. And this is my second contender for my favorite thing I'm stitching right now. And it is something that I'm very excited about. This is my birthday start this year. My birthday is September 2nd, so it was earlier this week. Part of starting my Flosstube was kind of a thought of like, it's my birthday. I want to start something new. I want to do something fun for myself. And so I decided to, one, start this Flosstube, and two, start this project. So, enough yapping, I guess. This is the Season Keepers Winter Keeper design by Barbara Anna. Again, I have a bottom start here. These patterns, as she's been releasing them, are gorgeous. I also really loved the Fall Girl. I'll try to pop some pictures up here. So there's the winter one that I'm currently stitching. Look at those colors. And then there's a fall one that has like mushrooms and like little fox detailing in. Obsessed. I am obsessed. I love them so much, but the colors in this winter pattern really, really called to me. I'm stitching this on a piece of banana oil fabric. I think it's an 18 count Aida. It is a very pale grayish lavender color that I think these colors are going to pop off of. The thing I am most excited about with this is I really do enjoy beading, as a side note. I like embellishing my patterns. I like the textile experience of having not just like stitching, but beading. I'm a person who touches my cross stitching. I like to enjoy all aspects of my work, and that means I'm gonna like touch all upon my cross stitching. I like the feel of it. I just like the tactile experience of like touching my floss, touching my fabrics, touching my actual stitching, and then you add some beads on there. Love it. When I saw this though, I was like, okay, this project in the pattern is perfect, but like, let's enhance it. Let's bead it. Let's put Krynic in it. Like, let's make it the most sparkly, like wintry, glistening, icy pattern the world has ever seen. So I don't have all of my supplies yet, but I made a pretty large purchase from 123stitch.com, and I purchased quite a bit of Krynic blending filament and some different types of beads. I really would like to bead the white details in her dress. So there are some like flowers in the dress and these like little dots that would just be perfect with like a pearly white seed bead. So I'm gonna do that in the dress. And then when you can see like all of the different dewdrops falling down from her little cloud, you know, headdress, all of that is gonna be done in Krynic with like blending filament. So I'll put it in with like the call for DMC. I'm just so excited. I think it's going to turn out so fun and so pretty. Once I finish with this one, I probably will start on the Autumn Seasons Keeper design. The pattern for the autumn one, the colors are just so like bright as well, and I really enjoy that. It's like those really like rich bright oranges and those like yellowy, like citron, chartreusey colors I enjoy. But these purples and blues in this winter one is just so exciting to me. So I'll show it to you one more time because I just love it. This is gorgeous. I just love these colors so much so far. Yeah, I think I said that right. Okay, I enjoy this. I'm gonna put it down now. I think that is all of my current WIPs. I think it's around 9 or 10. Like I said, I like to keep my WIPs fairly consolidated, mostly because I do like the outcome of like finishing a WIP and then like FFOing something. I want to get it on my wall or like in one of my decorative cabinets ASAP. So that is that. Let's take a quick break and then we can move into some haul. If haul is not your thing, then I can leave you here. I will say one thing to know, I enjoy haul. I enjoy purchasing, you know, like things for my stash, but I also am someone who likes to kind of like caution in some way, like, you know, over consumerism. I think if you have enough to stitch one project, then that's fantastic. You are like just as much of a valid stitcher as somebody who's got 60 projects or who is kitted up like a million things. I don't think you have to have a lot to be a part of a community. And so while I will show haul on my channel and I enjoy buying it, I do think it's not necessary for somebody to have a huge stash of things. I think you just participate how you can, where you can, and that's really that. So I will always try to not like push over consumerism, but also like I do enjoy buying some stuff. So like just don't ever want somebody to feel pressured to look at the things that I buy if it makes them feel bad for some reason. So if you don't want to watch from here, you know, let's chat really quick. I think I will be trying to put out episodes maybe every 2 to 3 weeks. Probably this first time, let's go 3 weeks, right? Give me a chance to stitch on some stuff and kind of get into more of a normal, like, hey, here's what I stitched in the past couple weeks. And yeah, so if you're leaving, have a great rest of your weekend and we will hopefully see you soon. Okay, if you're staying for haul, let's get into it. I've got a couple things here, not a ton, like I said. I will say I do have an issue with fabric. That is like the one thing I like to keep a stash of. Because, you know, when you're ready to start a project, for me, having the most like perfect, you know, canvas to start is super important. So I made a purchase recently on Evertote and I got both Roxy floss and some Roxy fabric. I'm very excited about these. So this first piece is a 28 count even weave in Seance. Look at this dark purple. I am so into it. Oh, the modeling on this, gorgeous. I really want to put a sprouting lupine pattern on this. I think Gothic Birdhouse is what I want to go with. I think it would be really fun and just really like, I think the black would pop off of this really well. And I think some of like the leaves and stuff in it are like a really pretty like orangey yellow. I think that'd be very complimentary on this. So I think I'd like to put that on here. It's kind of my loose plan for this one. And then everybody on Flosstube loves this fabric. And I can see why. I tried to dye my own piece of red fabric and it did not turn out like this. So I'm really glad I purchased this. This is a 28 count even weave in Cherry Cobbler. Look at this red. Oh, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. I may find a Christmas pattern to put on this, or I might just stash it and wait for like the most perfect pattern. It'll come to me. Both of these are just beautiful, but I have to say like Seance is my favorite. I just think it's really nice. So I'm very excited to have those in my collection now. During Stash Fest, shout out Lindy Stitches, keeping us, you know, in the know of all the new stuff. So I got one pattern this year from this like latest Stash Fest and a piece of fabric to go with it. One of my favorite designers is Carriage House Samplings. I like a lot of their older stuff. I believe maybe when Kathy Barrick was designing for Carriage House, but I also love Marty's stuff as well. Look at this, night creatures. Oh, I don't know if there's a glare, maybe there is. I like everything about this pattern. I especially like, I'll show you the things that I like. So I'm going to take it out of the plastic so we can all see together. Look at this grumpy owl. Oh, look at his little face. I love this grumpy owl. I like this little snake down here, little snickety snake. Oh, I really just enjoy this. I just think it's so pretty, and especially on this color fabric. It's gorgeous, this like deep dark teal. Whenever I was looking up, this is a cream de menthe, this fabric that they stitched it on is cream de menthe linen by Needle Bling Designs. I could not put my hands on a piece of cream de menthe. So I tried to online color match. I've had very varying outcomes with buying fabric online. I do not have a local LNS, so I do have to purchase my fabric online. And sometimes it's a hit, sometimes it's a real big miss. This was a hit though. I got this piece of, I think it's pistachio 32 count linen by Fiber on a Whim. It is that like darkened, deep teal color that is on this pattern. I think it's a dang good match for that other fabric that the model was stitched on. So I don't think I will get to this year. I just don't, like, if I'm being very realistic with myself, by the time I work through some of my other projects, we will be out of season. So I'm gonna hang on to this until next year, or maybe, I don't know, sometimes in January when it's like dark and dingy outside, like I pull out something that makes me happy. Many times it's gonna be like fall themed things, so maybe it'll come back out then. But for now, it will live in stash, and I will be very excited to start it maybe next year. All right, that's all I have for haul. I will leave us today with a book rec of what I've been reading lately. Get used to this. Reading is definitely my other hobby. Probably my main hobby, honestly. Reading is my lifetime's my lifetime hobby. Like, I have been reading nonstop since I was a little kid, and I truly just enjoy getting lost in a good book. I mainly lean towards fantasy, sci-fi, some romance, some horror, not like slasher horror, but more like, I don't know, like creepy in the holler Appalachian, like existential horror, like eldritch horror, if you will. I enjoy like that type of thing. I stick to those genres. Let's be very real. I don't read a lot of nonfiction. So if you are into books, into talking about books, that is one of the things I quite enjoy talking to folks about. I love recommending a good book. So I do think that reading though and cross stitch are such complementary hobbies, especially if you're into audiobooks at all. If you've figured out how to like read on a Kindle and like stitch at the same time, holler at me. Let's talk about that. But I really think that like audiobooks and stitching go so well together. Recently though, I had a good friend recommend multiple times the Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennet. This book was described, it's on the back, it's described as a Holmes and Watson style detective duo take the stage in this fantasy with a mystery twist from the Edgar-winning, multiple Hugo-nominated Robert Jackson Bennet. Okay. I was like, I don't really want to read this. Like, I don't know, like Sherlock Holmes does not sound appealing to me. A whodunit does not sound appealing to me. Like, mystery really just isn't my thing. But this friend was like, have I ever steered you wrong? Like, I love this. This man is like in his bag when, you know, he's writing these. You will love it. Trust me. I trusted him. I took the recommendation and I'm so glad I did. I did partially read this a physical copy, but mostly was listening to it while stitching. And I'm actually on the second audiobook now called A Drop of Corruption. fantastic. If you are feeling like a kind of like, I don't want to say autumnal, it's not really, but it is like a darker, dreary setting of this empire that is kind of like on the fringes, right? Like the empire has something called a seawall, and every wet season these large beasts called titans try to break down the seawall and would, you know, basically wreak havoc on the different cities there. If you've seen Attack on Titan, kind of almost feels like very Attack on Titan-esque, where like, you know, if you're behind the walls, hopefully you're safe. Sometimes you're not though. So it is about this detective. Her name is Anna, and her partner Din, who are going out. They are both very kind of like eccentric, odd folks, and they're going out in the world and they are solving these really like hard to solve crimes. It all has like these really amazing fantasy elements, you know, where they have special alterations made to them. To, you know, for Din, he's something called an engraver. So as he goes into a place, he can smell a vial of like a perfume, and, you know, basically later on, if he smells that same scent, he can tell you exactly what happened while he was in this like place and time. So it's a way to recall memories. And he uses that to help, you know, Anna, who is this like eccentric, mad genius of a woman, solve these crimes. 10 out of 10, totally recommend it. It's definitely a 5-star read for me. And yeah, that's where I'm at. I think in the coming weeks, I will continue to read this series. When it comes to stitching, I will probably end up doing a bit of stitching on the Twigs and T-Sal. Now that that first drop has come out, I would like to focus on that until I get it done. Whenever I move away from that, I do want to put at least 500 more stitches into October Mood so I can continue to participate in the Season of the Witch Sow. And I just know that when my 1-2-3 stitch order comes in, I am going to want to put some sparkles in the Winter Season's Keeper by Barbara Anna. I will not be able to put that away probably. So I just know that, like, let me go ahead and knock out my stitch alongs, and then I will be able to kind of hyper focus back in on the sparkly and the fun things that I really want to like get my hands on right now. So if you have made it this long, thank you for listening to me ramble. I actually filmed this yesterday and I re-listened to it last night. It was like, we can't use this, babe. It was so rambly, and I'm hoping today is different. I kind of feel like it is. I'm not as nervous today. So if you made it this long through all the rambles, thank you so much. I appreciate you spending the time with me. I hope you enjoy what you watched today, and I hope you subscribe and come back for the next one. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.